There are two types of claims, legal and equitable. When a plaintiff is pursuing a legal claim, they ask a court to award money or they ask the court to stop particular action or event. The goal of the legal claim is for the defendant to compensate the plaintiff and make her whole again. If the plaintiff wins, the judge will order the defendant to pay money to the plaintiff for the loss or injury, also known as damages. In law, the term equity refers to a specific set of remedies that are associated with civil law procedures. Legal remedies involve monetary damages and equitable relief. In an equitable claim, a plaintiff seeking equitable relief asks the court for an injunction. An injunction is a court order compelling a party to stop or continue doing a specific task. A court can order an injunction to prevent future harm from being done. Instead of compensating money for damages are not enough of a solution for which a monetary value is imposable to calculate in a case. The history of equitable remedies or the nature of equity is only in part due to its historical development. It is also necessary to understand that equitable principles are a distinctive form, but not necessarily incompatible with those of common law. Equity came into existence during the 13th century. During that time, the courts of law had frozen the types of claims they would hear as well as the procedure governing the hearing of those claims. The range of claims that would be heard became insufficient, and then process to bring the actions to court became a problem with jurors because jurors were often bribed. As a result of these changes, plaintiffs with credible claims were a lot of times denied relief. As equity developed, it began to conflict with common law. Litigants used equity to their advantage, often seeking an equitable injunction prohibiting the enforcement of a common law order. If a common law judgment was enforced in disobedience of a common injunction, then the person enforcing the judgment could face imprisonment. Examples of equitable remedies include remedies obtained in situations involving a breach of contract. These remedies are mostly about fairness and not so much about the monetary value. A common type of equitable remedy used in this case of unique goods is called specific performance. In this type of court case, the court will order the breaching party to fulfill the exact terms of the agreement. An example of this is if you run an art gallery, which is contracted to display a piece by a well-known artist in an upcoming exhibition. However, the dealer doesn't deliver the piece. The court can then order the dealer to produce that exact same piece. Or another example is if someone sells an item that is unique and cannot be duplicated or found anywhere else. Say the person agrees to sell it for a certain price to someone, but then someone else offers them a higher price. He ends up selling it to the person who offered a higher amount. In this case, monetary damages are not enough because they are unable to buy the same piece somewhere else, and this piece is so unique that they literally cannot get it anywhere else but through this person who had promised them that piece. Then the only adequate remedy is specific performance. The second court case is David and Kate Bartenwerfer renovated a house in San Francisco, California, and sold it to Kieran Buckley. After the sale, Buckley discovered defects in the house and sued Bartenwerfers. A jury sided with Buckley on several claims and awarded damages. The Bartenwerfers then filed for bankruptcy. In the bankruptcy court, Buckley initiated an adversary proceeding against the Bartenwerfers, arguing that the state court judgment could not be discharged in bankruptcy because the debt was obtained through fraud. Bartenwerfer's fraudulent conduct could be imposed onto Mrs. Bartenwerfer because of their partnership relationship. The Ninth Circuit Bankruptcy Appellate Panel remanded then imputed liability finding with the instructions that the bankruptcy court determines whether Mrs. Bartenwerfer knew or should have known of Mr. Bartenwerfer's fraud. On remand, the court held that Mrs. Bartenwerfer did not know of the fraud and thus was not liable for Mr. Bartenwerfer's fraudulent conduct. The second court case is artist Andy Warhol created a series of silkscreen prints and pencil illustrations called the Print Series. Based on a copyrighted 1981 photograph of the musician Prince taken by Lynn Goldsmith, Warhol made some aesthetic changes to the Goldsmith original photograph, but they remained recognizably derived from the original Goldsmith photograph. Goldsmith sued the Andy Warhol Foundation, successor to Warhol's copyright in the Prince series, for copyright infringement. The foundation raised fair use as a defense. The district court granted summary judgment for the foundation, concluding that Warhol had transformed the original photograph by giving it new meaning and a message. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit holding that because the Prince series remained recognizably derived from the original, it failed to transform and was thus not fair use.